I think we only have 22 buffalo, so we should have 23. So we're gonna go on a little hunt and check around on these buffalo and kind of see what we're up against here. Why is it maybe the number's off? Maybe we just counted wrong earlier today, but we're gonna check them out. You can have a buffalo that is apart either because she's gonna be giving birth. That's why we've been counting them over the last few videos. They'll segregate themselves off, and so we're just trying to keep track of it and know, hey, if we've got one that's off or not, since we can't see the whole pasture, right? So we count them, and I think we are one short. So anyway, let's get this water trough done and then come back to the buffalo and see what's going on. Welcome back everybody to Blackacre Ranch. All right, today we're doing some miscellaneous chores. It's a nice evening tonight. Weather is in the 80 degrees, it feels like, maybe upper 70s. As the buffalo have grass, they eat, and they don't eat the hay, which means I don't have to spend money on them. So what I want to try and do is get pasture 5 up and running. And to do that, I have to get the trough set. All right guys, pasture 5, here we go. So this is it, right? A lot of green stuff. A lot of not grass and weed and everything else. I call it vegetation, and buffalo generally do eat, for the most part, vegetation. But see, it's like this kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's the most perfect, guys. This isn't the most perfect grass. We want to do planting here, put down some seed, and do some other things. But for the time being, we just need to get them in here so that way they can partake of the grass before the grass gets old and dies. And what's the point of me having to pay them potentially somewhere else in the meantime if they got plenty of stuff they can eat here? So this pasture 5, is I think almost 12 acres, and for the most part there's no real big hills on it. There's a little bit of rollingness here and there, but there's also no huge massive tree section. So when you look at the actual grazable area of this pasture as compared to like those others, the top of pasture 7 over there where they might be 7 or 8 acres, 8 acres. And then down below might be about 4, so it might be about a net of 12. Even though the entire pasture has all the wooded and the cliff and everything else by where the pigs are, which makes it about 16 total. So the same, a little bit better on the pasture 6, but not tons better. So this is gonna be ideal, same amount of grazable space. We just obviously have some saplings around that we have to take care of. And right now our task is this water. So here, now last time I did this, guys, I got poison ivy, and if any of you guys are familiar with stuff, is this poisonous? I haven't touched it yet, but like every good Boy Scout, I know nothing about it, right? But I swear I got poison ivy the last time I was around here, so I'm hoping to avoid that. All right, so really what we have here is just going to be a fairly simple connection in theory, right? The problem comes is they don't exactly line up 100% correct, and so you got to make some adjustments, some angles, things of that nature to make it more aligned. The stem right there dropping down, it was leaking at the top of that where it threads into the actual trough. So I think we're gonna have to re-thread in something new there and then make our connections thereafter. So in realistic application here, guys, we just have to do one unthread, kind of cut it off, and then do some new L, and we should be good, right? It's always easier said than done. So without wasting too much time before the sun gets too low, and so we can check the buffalo, let's see if I can get going on this and put money down if I get poison ivy or some other rash stuff going on. So it's every time, man, every time I swear I'm gonna get it. All right, got some extra pipe. Toolbox, some pipe cleaner, some pipe snot, and our fittings. may need 1 elbow, 1 sleeve, and 1 new adapter. So this should be threading in to the bottom of the tank, dope that up, and then I'm going to just connect this right into here and then put the 3/4 inch right there. So fairly straightforward, pretty simple actually. It's not that much. Barely an inconvenience. Holy shnikes. Moment of truth. All right, so that one actually, I had to hold a little bit longer. I wanted to squeeze out. Now, if you notice from down here, we are actually right in line, and I think this is just a hair bigger, taller. So let me see what I can do to slide some stuff on. But I think it's really just right in line, guys. It's almost done. Jeff. I did a good old plumber's trick. Put it on the outside when it's supposed to go on the inside. That won't be too effective. Just to be safe, I'm going to trim off just a little. Insides, Jeff, insides. Sorry, I kind of blocked her shot there on that one. She is connected. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes and then I'm gonna turn the water on. And I will tell you guys, I am not an OCD kind of guy. And, you know, sure, I like to have things a certain way. Sometimes things to look a certain way. And when you look up to the fence right up here, the one thing that's going to bother me, and I could have adjusted it, but not. If I'm perpendicular to that fence, east-west, now I'm perpendicular, and the tank is that way. Sorry. So I could adjust it. I'm not going to bother with it. In the future, I plan to put a bunch of, what is that, road base, gravel. So I'm not going to necessarily hit it with the mower, but I will always see it when I come up over that hill. So, all right, let's get this thing turned on and see if I'm leaking. No leaks. All right, now I don't have the pressure on. It is gravity fed, so there's probably only like 5 to 10 psi max. When I turn the pump on, I will then know if it really is leaking. But so far, it's a good sign. We don't have any leaks going on. All right, cleared myself off. Let's go check the buffalo as the sun's going down here. Let's get a good accurate count of them and see who's missing, if any, and if they are, which ones, and then go from there. We are on our way out. Let's see where these guys have gone. Two options, pasture 6 or pasture 7. I'm gonna stick in 7 because that's where they were last at. Let's see. they are. All right, let's see if we can count these guys. Unfortunately, I count 22. It's not good. Let's give that another shot. You don't want to be wrong about this, guys. You don't want to be wrong. I'm gonna get out. Buffalo look very much the same. Oddly enough, they glow or camouflage a lot. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All right, again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. All right. I get 22, and the concerning part is I don't see Aaron. Aaron is not here. Part of the reason I think this is concerning is obviously Aaron is not the pregnant one. Aaron, if you remember, has no horns. She is also really emaciated kind of a look. We weaned her calf 4 months ago, and she never put on weight that much. The other one who had a calf this year had put on some weight and was okay. It wasn't looking too bad. Erin just never did anything, and she never really recovered. So then we went through winter, and she just still kept looking so bad. A week ago, I saw her distant from the herd over in the feed pen area where we feed them all the alfalfa, while everybody else was up here on the ridge. And she was just standing there alone, which drew some concern. But the next day, and ever since after that, I never saw that again. She was in amongst the herd. Then this last week, Sunday, I think we gave him some extra alfalfa. She did come in for some. Again, I kind of thought, wow, she's actually not looking too good, but she was with everybody. So this is a little bit of a shock, but if I had to guess, I'd probably say that she passed away. And I want to go see if I can find her, see where she's at. Now, usually when a buffalo passes away, obviously the herd would go over, say, kind of condolences, whatever. They miss them. You know, there's a herd mentality here for sure. I don't see any of them off where she was at, so she must have passed away a little while ago. But also, there's no buzzards. I don't see any birds or anything flying around. Unless they're already at her, but they're not flying around anywhere. So this is gonna be a hunt and peck kind of operation. I'm gonna scroll around or drive around all up by this pasture 6 and see if I can see her from this fence line to save myself a trip down there. Well, this looks as good as any. Now, it was a number of years ago, about 3 months after we had got the herd. One of the animals had passed away, but it passed away in that creek back there and fell down, and we found her remains in the bottom of the creek. So I probably do have to go over there just to check. The animals earlier today were found in pasture 6 over by the water, so I'm gonna go try there. Unfortunately, guys, I just found her. If you guys are a little bit squeamish, probably don't want to watch, but she passed away. And she's down here. Looks like she has been dead actually a little while. Ironically enough, that's where the other buffalo passed away. So. You know, guys, it's hard to always lose a buffalo, right? It's hard to lose any animal. None of us ranchers ever say it's better to lose an animal than it is to sell an animal. All right, guys, we went ahead and took care of her off camera a little bit. So I thought for a moment about what could I say, and frankly, I don't know if there's really much you can say, should say, or you just move on, right? So, you know, we knew that this was a possibility, especially with the signs that we saw, and it was. So I'm not going to sit here shedding tears about it. You can't be a rancher and cry about every single loss you've ever had. On the other hand, it's a business, and you got to realize that, hey, you know, if she's not going to produce, then maybe it's time to go. Now, obviously, I'd love to have sold her. I don't know that she was in a condition for probably a year to be sold, unless we could have packed on a lot of weight this summer, but it might have taken 2 years. If you really think about it, by that point, when you got an animal that's going to maybe have to be around for 18 months to 2 years, you might be putting, at least in my situation with my setup, because I had to feed so much hay, you know, that could be $500 a year. So that could be upwards of $1,000 by the time you include supplements and everything else. You know, put more $1,000 more into her for another year or two-ish, depending on the season. So it probably would have been a year from this coming fall I would have been able to sell her. You know, it may not have been worth it to bother with trying to save her, you know, I mean, if you really think about it. So I know I'm not trying to be harsh, crass, or insensitive to her, but you know, sometimes that's just what it is. So the other mother had gained a little weight back in the fall after we weaned. And when we weaned the calves, we gave all of the mothers, everyone, worming medication. All right, we gave them a lot of worming medication, okay? So everybody across the entire herd should have been wormed, should have been fine. There are some options about what happened with her. Obviously, you could say, hey, it's a worming problem. She never gained weight. Well, the other one, 99, didn't gain tons of weight either, but she never looked as bad originally. Then when you hit into winter, you can feed and feed and feed and feed and not gain a lot of weight during winter, guys. So it was kind of expected that she would hover around what she looked like if we could get her through winter into the spring here, that maybe she'd start putting on some weight. And if she didn't over time, then we'd start having to really look at kind of what's going on with her. So this was about the time when the grasses are really starting to get up green over the last week or so. And that's when we started seeing some signs that she might be going downhill. But you know, if it was a worming thing, I think we would have seen a bunch with the rest of the herd too. There are a number of other people in this herd that carry parasites. And you know, there's always like the 20% of your herd has 80% of the parasite kind of thing. She was hit pretty hard the first year. Bartok is one who always shows parasites, like first one. Others always show some parasites. None of them have any issues with it. None of them have been showing any signs of it. So she is the only one out of any of them that never quite gained. So unless she just happens to be that one carrier, I don't know that I would call it parasites. I frankly don't know really what it is. She just didn't put a lot of weight back on, and maybe she was just too skinny for too long. I don't know. So, you know, it's sad, but I guess you gotta just move on, guys. I'm gonna leave it here. I will talk to you next time at Blackacre Ranch. Like and subscribe, guys, please, and we will see you then. Bye.